Hello and welcome to jobskillshare.org. This is a second video. I just recently created a video, can I just become a system administrator? And my answer is no, but I discussed a lot of other things that you can get lucky and stuff like that. So do watch this video. I do get a lot of requests on a second title, which is almost similar to system admin, but it's a network administrator or a network engineer. Now, even though they sound similar, but these two are pretty different titles. And a big company, even a small enterprise, medium-sized companies, this will be two people working on two different things. Okay, as a system admin, you're working on a lot of systems, even websites, servers, load balancing, stuff like that, and even some basic networking. But most of the time, if you're working for a very big company, you won't touch the networking side, and this is where the network engineers are going to jump in and work on the network equipment. When I say network, I'm talking about that routers, core routers, some really heavy and some powerful equipments out there. It could be routers for phone systems, it could be switches for your whole company, different companies, many different areas, and you're connecting them between each other, and you need to know a lot about Cisco. Now, because the reason I said Cisco is they're kind of like the leading ones, and this is where a lot of jobs are going to ask for CCNA, which is their certification, and the other ones that are a little bit basics. So this is what I want to talk about today. So let's say if I pretend today and I want to be like you, and you think that, you know what, I'm just gonna first let me know what is the difference between the salary over here. So since I'm from Maryland, US, United States, I'm putting my zip code in here, and you can see if I put my zip code and put a system administrator job, look at this amount right here. It starts with 65,000, right? Now let's do a quick, this is a real world test. Like, I want to become a network engineer today or network administrator, so I'm definitely gonna look for what they're gonna pay, and is this something I can just like start right with no experience? So we will find this answer. Look at this, how this changed from 65 to 70, right? I'm just searching for this job, but if I remove this to now network engineer, if I click on it, you see it jumped to 85,000 right there. Now in your case, in your area, it will be a totally different story, but still, this is an advanced job. You know, this is why the value of the money is going up. That can just tell you right there that this is going to need more advanced skills than just normal help desk, and even a junior system admin. You will need to know more. Okay, so if I just like look around and I click on this junior network, this is junior, and one means that they're expecting you to know something at the basic level, but they need you to know this stuff. Okay, so just by clicking on a junior network engineer, you can see they're extremely focused on what? CCNA. Because you know you are going to be working on Cisco routers and switches and stuff like that, and these are expensive equipments out there. So why would someone just kind of like let you just come in and say, hey, you know what, okay, yeah, you can just do this? Now let me tell you, a lot of time when it comes to the help desk and even a junior system admin positions, I said that in my last video that it's rare that you're gonna get it that way, but I said you may get it. You know, sometimes you may get lucky, people may teach you this stuff. But this kind of stuff, the Cisco routing and switching and stuff like that, you really need to know your stuff, because you need to know the theory behind it, why you need to use this command, or why you need to use this way, why you need to use VLANs and stuff like that. You need to know this. No one can just sit down there while they're doing their work and, you know, they're going to teach you like, you know, everything from day one. They're definitely going to tell you that, look, you still at least need to know this stuff, like, you know, just go and study this and get some routers and get some hands-on stuff and practice. As you can see right here, they're putting, even for a junior level, they're putting 2 to 4 years experience, hands-on experience, and they're putting it right there. Now, of course, if you go to the more other ones, they can change, but it clearly tell you expertise in IP addressing, subnet, VLANs, network protocols, and then the rest is just normal stuff right here. But here's the key things right here. These are the key things when you go to the interview. Network equipments, routers, switching. People will ask you, have you configured a router before? Have you restored a router from the backup? Have you used putty? Do you know these things? If I sound like extremely like, you know, coming out of some different world right now, then this means you're not ready at all for this job. This is a hands-on job. Usually these kind of things, if you're working for a company that is going to be dealing with a lot of networking stuff, and you think of this way. You may be working for a company where they will call you NOC, Network Operations Center, or stuff like that. You know, they may call you, they might give you a title for a NOC 1 engineer, something like that. So you may be working with a company where they are actually supporting other companies. This is like you're supporting other administrators in the other companies. So think about it. Even though you may think these are the things that cannot happen on a daily basis, but if you're working for a technical company, this could be your daily job where you have to go into their systems, look at their switches and routers, and you will tell them that, hey, your router is down, okay, let's troubleshoot it. And then you need to know all of this stuff, like, you know, how do you get into a router, you know, if it's messed up and things like that. You need to tell the other person what to do. So you really need to know your stuff over here. That is why I say that in this job it's going to be extremely hard for you to just land a job without experience. Hard. Okay, if you get it. That's, like I said, IT, anything can happen, but it's a really hard thing for someone to land a job in this title. Let me just pick another one just to kind of go into a little bit more. Again, if I click on it again, look at this cabling, TCP/IP. You know, you need to know this stuff. And here again, requirements: maintaining a current Cisco certified network associate, CCNA, and again, networking environments, and you will be working on that kind of stuff. This is a big job. You're gonna get more salaries, but here's the thing about these jobs also, that a lot of time when you get into this type of job, you're actually working with a big team where you're supporting other companies. Nowadays, smaller companies are going towards cloud systems, like for example Office 365. Everything is done over there. You know, they don't really have networking devices that much, you know, so even if they do, it's a very small type of devices where they don't need a full network engineer to be able to do these kind of things. One system admin or a help desk can take care of that. So most of these jobs are kind of like now going towards these big technical companies. But then there would be some areas like, you know, you may be working for a very big company, and they may need one full network engineer in this company or two full network engineers in their company. Like for example, Radio One is not a networking company, I think, and this is where they are asking for this type of person who knows the stuff. So when they hire you, this is another big thing about network engineer. When they call you network engineer, you're not just working with technology like Cisco equipments right here. And a good example of a network engineers and why they're paying you more is because you need to know about servers and things like that too. You cannot get away from that also. So you need to know how to configure DHCP. You need to know how to configure a networking with Windows DHCP server, and how do you connect these two together. And it's a combination of many things. IDS, IPS, everything is right there. So you see, this is why they're paying more. This is why they're paying around 100,000, because you need to know a lot. Now, of course, to get to this point, yes, you will need to spend a lot of years and, you know, a lot of studies and stuff like that. But there's got to be a way. You need to get into this route, focusing on the networking side. How do you do that? Now, just like we did a system administrator transition, right? This is where I would recommend people that you can go towards a system administration, but if you think that you just don't want to start with this and you want to start with the networking side, then we made another one which is called Transition from Help Desk to Network Engineer Lab course. Now, before this, you do need to have recommended course, which is the free help desk course, where you need to learn that Active Directory stuff, everything like that. You know, if you need to do the DHCP labs on a server end, yes, you need to know that stuff, because like I just proved it to you that if you go to the job, they might not just ask you, do you know just router stuff? They may ask you, they may test you on Active Directory and basic stuff, because this is something that they think that you know this. That's why you're going to a little bit advanced positions now. So if you go down, this is the same kind of like, you know, requirements that we put in there. Then we will start with before we start a lecture, then a real world scenario where the router is down, and then how did we get the router up and running again. So that gives you like a reality that what happens in a company, and then how do you work. It could be a very different titles for a different way of you troubleshooting. Either you could be working inside the company, or you could be working as a support for this company from another technical company. Do you know this stuff? Kind of like, if you think you're ready, you will look at this do you know this stuff section, and if you're ready, you can answer all this stuff, then you're ready. If you're not, then you will keep going. Understand the IT infrastructure again. Networking fundamentals, advisory videos. Yes, you'll start with the hands-on lab from network fundamentals again. Now, if you have done this lab in our other courses, then you may skip this. Then we will jump into CompTIA Network Plus, which is a 006. It's an older lab, but it's still, older does not mean it's not a good practice for you. It's actually extremely good practice for you, because many companies are going to be using older systems and new systems. So you need to, when it comes to reality, you need to get more labs and more hands-on skills before you start landing these jobs. So, and it will help you in your job too, because you get that 1 year access. And then you move on to 007. Now, since we're not teaching this stuff, we're not teaching like lectures or anything like that, what would be the best lecture places? Like, what would be the best theory type of place where I can just do these two labs hands-on, even though these labs come with like PDF files and explanations and things like that, but this may not be enough for you to understand the whole concepts and things like that. So for this, like I said, Professor Messer have done a great job, and we cannot reinvent the same wheel like him, because he had done an awesome job. You can see how many people he have and how many things he have done. So these are the certification that he also have on his site, like 006, and then here is the 007. So if you go to the 006, you can see these are all the videos. You can start from it, and while you're doing these videos, while you're looking at these videos, start to understand terminology, and even he does like labs and everything. This is your opportunity to take this and then practically apply it in these labs that you have. For example, this is the Cisco lab, but this is the same way you're going to get the real routers and everything. These are all real routers, switches, core routers, and some really cool stuff right here. So if I enter, you can see this is kind of like a full routers right here. And while you have access to these labs, you can actually open one of these labs, and you have 60 minutes. You can always go click on this and it will become 60 minutes again. While you're watching Professor Messer videos, you don't need to switch a router over here. While you have these labs, you can actually apply the same skills over here to learn it again and again. Then, so when you finish this Professor Messer learning, while you're doing these labs, you can just open the Network Plus lab over here with Professor Messer. This is the one that we have recommended. So if you go all the way back, as you can see, we have 006 and 007. Even we have 005. I mean, this is something that you can, if you have time, you can do this too if something is missing in there. But you can be watching Professor Messer videos, and while you click on this one and open this lab, you'll have the same routers and switches, real stuff in there, and then you will be practicing it hands-on, and that is going to give you complete skills. Because a lot of people, what they do is they finish these courses, they get the certifications very quickly by answering questions, but they don't have a hands-on practice. They may have 1 or 2 routers at home. They may not be able to do a lot, because you do need some core stuff, some big routers and stuff like that, and everything is connected in a way that you would be expecting in a company. As soon as you go to the company, it will be connected like this. So then this is where you get that really hands-on practice on these 2 labs. Now, why did we pick Network Plus and the other labs, because you do need to know the DHCP and DNS servers and stuff like that, the FTP and all that kind of stuff, which you're not going to see a lot in the Cisco, because Cisco is not going to teach you the Hyper-V stuff. Cisco is not going to teach you some of the things that are being used in the company, and they may ask you questions related to it, like an email client protocols and things like that. Now, Cisco may be trying to sell their own products, but Cisco is good in some areas and they're not good in some areas. Like, for example, DHCP servers, people don't use Cisco DHCP servers, they use Microsoft DHCP servers and DNS. So this is where you need to kind of like work it out with these. This is why we recommended these 2 labs, Network Plus labs, because they are kind of like teaching you overall stuff. But then, of course, they're not so they're not going to cover a lot like than Cisco, like in their equipments like Cisco switching and routing. Then that's where you need to. Now if you see, we have two recommendation right here which you're going to get started. Now these three courses, these three labs with the Professor Messer course, this is going to prepare your mind. This is where you are polishing your mind, and then now you're ready. This is like a workout. You have done your workout. You're really into this, next phase of getting into the real networking, where Cisco is kind of like the master of these equipments. So this is where then we tell you, okay, now we need to move into the Cisco real hands-on labs, where you're going to not only practice but also with some other materials like a book or something like that. Well, if you do have that, and then you can actually pass your certifications also. I'm not claiming you will pass your certification from doing these labs, but this is a pretty powerful access right here for a lot of people that are going through these certifications. While you're doing that from book or some other video courses, then you can jump into these labs. Like for example right here, if you go to the Cisco side of it, this is the one that we then recommend, that okay, you will start from this one, you'll finish all of this with your book and everything. These are real labs right here. You'll practice everything that people are expecting you in this job, and again you'll have routers and switches right here all over, and you will be practicing it hands-on. And then when you finish that, you'll move into the other ones, like the little more advanced one, and at the end we'll tell you what communities to join. If you have to ask specific questions related to your stuff, you can ask that, and then you will get the project where you're going to get the title. This is a lot of work, and the reason it is a lot of work because you can see the money that people are paying is a lot too, and the requirements they're asking is also a lot. So you need to, a lot of people just do some lectures and some 2 or 3 routers and switches at their home, and then they get the certification, and then forget about it. A lot of people come to this platform even they cannot land the help desk jobs. That's the reason, because a lot of people have not done it in a correct way. A lot of people have not done it like hands-on, like it should be. This is going to take you time, but at the end you're not going to be that person where you're going to be confused. How do I use my CCNA? CCNA should be very clear for you. How do you use it then after doing these courses? Again, with this premium access, you also get our courses. Now, this is a little older courses. I looked at it, and still it's extremely good for you to learn stuff. Like I say, the theory, the lectures, you're still gonna need this in this CCNA, and when you work on Cisco routers and switches, you're still gonna need that. I mean, you have to understand what you're working on over here. So you still have access to these courses that we are providing with your CCNA. So if you don't have books or anything like that, you can actually watch these videos. But at the end, I'm going to recommend you should go for like a latest books and some other video courses. If you know some, then you should take that with our labs and follow that, and then work practically on these switches and routers right here, which is extremely powerful. So this is the way to transition to network engineering jobs, network administration jobs, where you're going to be specifically thinking that I want to become that person where I want to work on switches and routers and stuff like that. I want to configure this. I want to build it for a company. I want to be that person when a system administration cannot fix an issue on a network level, I should be called upon, and I should be the one fixing this stuff. This is what your title is going to be. This is where your focus is going to be. So hopefully this is a clear video for a lot of people to know what to do. And this course will be open soon. As you can see, it's coming soon, so keep track of it. If you want to know more information about this, make sure you comment on this video. And thank you so much. If you have any other requests, let me know. Thanks.